always do. Let me go check the social media, the Facebook, and let me make sure that we're live.
The social media with the Clint Powell.
No, you're in trouble, man. You are in trouble. All right, let me double check it. It says that we are, well, dadgummit, it's not saying we're live yet. Hold on. I got to make sure because I don't want to start talking. There we go. We're live. So we're all good. I've confirmed it. You and I have known each other a long time because we've always kind of swam in the marketing, public relations, advertising waters around Chattanooga for years. We have a lot of mutual friends.
Right.
And as I've, had limited access, none really until recently. And just due to pre-existing conditions, I'm not going to go back into studio for a couple of weeks. I've not been able to get to the studio.
Right.
So I've been doing more videos. And
and that's the only way to see your beautiful smiling face, Clint.
Absolutely. And why would people not want to see that?
Exactly.
Let's show some common sense in here. But me and you reached out online through private messenger, and you and I had a brief conversation, and I think it's a good conversation to have. And we won't take up too much time, but I do think it's a topic that once we bring up, whether people respond to it right now or next week when they're watching this video, because this has it's evergreen,
right?
Or they don't respond, most people will be able to relate to some part of this conversation. Here is the topic, ladies and gentlemen: mental health during COVID-19.
Important.
From two non-experts.
Well, you're an expert in everything, but
I've got some mental health issues. I'm an expert when it comes to that.
I do too.
Well, when we started talking, though, you said some things that resonated with me because you had been through some life changes, and without both of us sharing life changes, everybody around us has life changes, whether it's a death, a divorce, a graduation, a kid growing up and moving off. We had these big moments in life, and it changes us who we are a little bit. You used to be more of an introvert, and you said now you're an extrovert.
Yes, actually I am.
How did you make that comment? That's like going from a Democrat to a Republican. How in the world did you do that?
Well, let me say this. Okay, so so growing up, I was an introvert. When I was in elementary school on through high school, I actually received the superlative for most bashful several years in a row in my middle school days. And it really carried on over into college, and I've always been kept a lot of things close to the chest, and I've never really been that outgoing in those early years for people I didn't know. And really, so then I graduated college. I had my degree in communication from UTC. I started out as a reporter with the Cleveland Daily Banner, then on with the Times Free Press. And then I went into the PR world. And, PR is one of those things where you have to and you have to be able to relate to people and reach out to people. Otherwise, you're not doing a very good job.
Right. Yeah.
I was doing that for about 15 years, and I was with the Medical Society. I left the Medical Society about 2 years ago. And right before I left, I started going from that introverted stage over to the extroverted stage. And I always called myself an ambivert, probably for the last 5 years, which is a combination of both. But I'd say,
thank you for clarifying. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. But just in the last 2 or 3 years, it's gone over more to it's swung more extroverted. And I think it's just because I've become so outgoing, going to community events and socializing and hanging out with friends, that it's just become the stronger side of me. And because of that, I crave human interaction, and friend time is important to me, but I also like meeting new people. I like socializing with my coworkers in the office. And when this quarantine hit back in mid-March, all that came to a screeching halt, and it became difficult.
See, and I'm not. I'm gonna say I'm not opposite, because I hear a lot of what you're saying. And I can relate to it. My issue comes from, and I've always, when I was younger, I'd spend more time with my friends, whether it's our time tree. When you're young, you're not married, you don't have kids. I got nothing but time.
Right.
I'll hang out with you all the time. Yeah, why not?
Exactly.
As the limbs on that tree start growing, you have to prune and trim other limbs off or back.
Right.
But my issue comes from, I've always been so out between 8 and 6 every day. I'm out. I'm either at networking meetings or doing this kind of stuff or sales, or I'm always having to do this.
Right.
presentations, seminars, speak, sales. Come closing time, my daughter makes fun of me all the time. I'll be asleep by 8. I'm on my deck or something by 10. I don't have people. And so I think this has been the same for me and you and different in some ways, because this has only confirmed that I've been doing it right the whole time.
No
But
surprise.
but I do miss it. I mean, I don't miss I'm not that big of I've got to have, people interactions. I
Right.
miss the opportunity to say no. Does that sound weird?
No, and I'm sure you break a lot of hearts by saying no anyway.
No, but seriously, whether it's whatever,
Yeah.
the opportunity to, hey, Clint, there's this networking event, there's this or that. And I'm like, oh, I can't make it. Well,
Right.
now I really can't make it, and there's no offers
Right.
coming in. And I'm like,
Right.
I might want to go network at 6:30 at the big gala that somebody's doing. But
Right.
the part that really resonated with me is this part. So you have a daughter, you have kids, I have kids, and I have had my daughter, and I have more energy when my kids are around.
I agree. 100%.
And it's good and bad, because I've got buddies whose kids have grown up and they looked at me and I'm like, homeboy, you better get some stuff together, because when they go and they're not even diving back in a little bit, you're
Right.
going to have to figure out who you are.
Right.
But we have energy. But when your kids, because your daughter, I think you get her every other week.
Every other week.
It's kind of the situation I was in. Those weeks you are not responsible for having energy, because I don't know how you are, but I feel like I owe it to my daughter to have energy.
Right. Well, I especially feel that way with my daughter, because she's a gymnast. She's always has that energy, and she needs an outlet for it. And being inside the house, that's hard to find an outlet for it. But every weekend I have her, I have to try to find something to do outdoors to keep her stimulated. And and I think this. I'm a huge fan of roller coasters. I have been since I was young. So that's one way my daughter and I bond. We have season passes to Six Flags. We have season passes to Dollywood. So during the coaster season, as I call it, we'd go out on weekends and try to get our coaster fix on and have fun that way. Or we'd go for a hike, and we've been limited. So it's hard to find those things to keep her interested in her energy level to where it needs to, where she can export all that energy she has, and where I can keep up with her.
Well, me and my daughter started walking more, and I know
Yep.
walking, we're going to talk about that with you in just a minute. We
Yep.
throw softball almost every day.
Yep.
We work out together. She's got a lot of energy, 15 years old, and I'm a workout nut. Up until last year, 2019 was a unicorn for me, not a good unicorn. I just kind of stopped doing a lot of the healthy things I'd done for 20 something years.
Right.
And so, but here's where I think people will start to relate. When the kids aren't around, or if you're listening to this, have the vacuum of whatever makes you more motivated, because everybody has something. I think sometimes when we're in this quarantine, when we don't have the kids around, or in the absence of a reason why, it's easy to go, your energy level goes, and now all of a sudden you're kind of searching for, why am I doing this? What am I supposed to be doing?
Right.
And you actually use the word depression.
Yeah. I can say I definitely I've been struggling with depression since this started.
Yeah.
And part of that helped me realize how much of an extrovert I am.
Mm-hmm.
I said earlier, I didn't realize it really. I said earlier that friends are important to me. Being with people I care about, my family is important to me. And all that was taken away. The ability to be physically with them. And granted, we have other ways to communicate. We have chat, we have text, and other ways.
It's not the same though, man. It's not the same.
Not the same. You're not seeing them. You're not getting that human face-to-face interaction. And let's be honest, I'm a huge hugger, and there is a lot of healing powers in a hug.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just can't get it. And being alone, on the weekends when I was working, when I was in the office full time, seeing everybody during a normal work week, sometimes the weekends when I didn't have my daughter, I could decompress. That would be the introvert in me being able to decompress.
Right.
Now I have I work from home. I work from an alternative office that's away from the main office I normally work at.
Real quick, do you like working from home? If the world was normal, would you spend time working from home at all, or do you like being in the office?
I like being in the office for the simple reason that I love my coworkers. I like hanging out with them. We can joke around. We can have a good time, and that's part of what makes me me is being able to hang with people, and and I consider them my friends. They're my work family, and I need that. And I've just started going back to work, a few hours at a time in the office, and that's helped. But I'm still isolating myself a little bit from that, and because they're essential workers. I work for a local vascular practice, Vascular Institute of Chattanooga, and basically I'm one of the only non-essential workers in the
Can
office.
we stop that phrase, please? Okay, here's
Yes,
why. Here's why. It bothers me a little bit. I get it. I'm not the touchy-feely. I'm not a snowflake. I don't need a quiet space or a safe space. You can take that and stick it. I don't need that. I'm just saying, when there are people out there, when we start saying you're non-essential, that they're essential to somebody or they wouldn't have a
sure,
job.
I agree. I
So
agree.
I understand we're the ones that aren't needed at the moment, which I don't know an easier way to say it. But when I say, are you a non-essential? Everybody goes, yeah, non-essential.
Well, I
That
agree with you.
sucks.
I agree with you. And even though, so I've still been busy. I've still been working
Oh, yeah.
40 hours a week, just in a different location. But I'm still isolated and not being around people. Sometimes I work okay from home. I don't love it. But sometimes I come to this office, which is basically a storage office for us, just to have some sort of normalcy of driving somewhere, being able to sit down and being
Put
able to,
on real clothes.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I have to brush my
Um,
teeth. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so I get up, take my shower, brush my teeth, get in the car, drive, work for a few hours, and I'll go home. But yeah, you're right. Depression's been setting in, has been setting in. All of us are have different situations. I definitely reach out to my friends. I have an awesome friend support group. Sometimes some people are available when others may not be. So sometimes I lean on other people for some things and other people at other times. But um, they've become my family,
Mm-hmm.
and they've helped me get through this. And sometimes I sit at home all day, and I don't feel like reaching out, even though I need to. But that's just one of those things I struggle with.
Does
And
it help you? Not help, but does it? I don't know if it help or comfort, but you're not alone. I mean, there's a lot of people,
no, not at
even
all.
people that do this all the time.
Right,
I have found, let's go back to when the world was air quote normal. Most of the people that I know that are super extroverted in appearance, like they have a job, they're very withdrawn when they don't
right,
have to be on.
right.
And I think that a lot of the people listening to this would relate to what you're saying because we don't think we need people until we don't have people.
I
And
agree.
and I think there's people out there right now listening to this would probably go, I'm struggling with depression too. Whether it's full-blown depression or depressed moments or melancholy, whatever you want to describe it as. Because a lot
Right,
of people go, I'm not depressed. I'm just a little down. Oh, okay. Whatever you got to say,
right.
you know.
And I sometimes I'm just sad.
Yeah.
Sometimes I struggle. Sometimes I'm in a good mood and I'm happy. That's just the way it swings. And it's taught me a lot about myself. I've become more self-aware of things that I may not have known before. And I agree with you. All of us that are always need to be on, we pull back, and I do that, but I haven't really been on that much on a professional level.
Yeah.
So I miss that, and that's the part of one of the things about my job that I love, and being out in the community and normal. And you mentioned the networking stuff earlier. Um, Sometimes I'm the one in the corner if I don't know anyone in the room, until I can read the room and figure out where I might fit in. Where some people can walk into that room and just start talking and chatting up a storm. If there was a networking event tomorrow, I could probably walk in that room and just want to start talking to people just because I'm hungry for
It's
conversation
withdrawal, man.
with
It's
people. Exactly.
withdrawal from human contact. Um,
Exactly.
I'll tell you something, some thoughts that really have gotten to me. And so people understand that I'm trying to put this in the right way. Just because we talk about things that bother us or may make us sad doesn't mean I'm a sad person. It doesn't. I think we're just sharing things that everybody has gone through or is going through.
Right.
And people may be too busy right now and they don't go through it until they lay down at night, but everybody's going through it. You know,
Right.
my son's 21 and I've not been able, and he lives out on his own, and I've not been able to hug him for 6 weeks now. So he'll come over and wave and we talk, or we'll talk on the phone. But the thought of dad getting sick or thinking that I've hugged my son for the last time has just bugged me to no end. My daughter just went to her mom's house. I don't get to, I'll go see her almost every day and have lunch and wave, but you know, her mom has a job where she's out in front of people. She's a nurse. So, and I've got some pre-existing conditions. We have to be very careful. But one of the thoughts that gets in people's minds, if it's not your kid, it's your mom and dad or your grandparents or your coworkers.
Right.
When will this end? And when can I go back to doing this to the people I care about?
Right.
That's a horrible thought.
It is hard. And, you know, my parents are in that age group where COVID-19 is a higher risk factor for them.
Yeah.
I've, you know, we text each other every day, we talk, but I've purposefully tried to keep my distance from them because I work in the healthcare field. So I'm around people, but this about a week ago, well, 2 weeks ago, I took my daughter. We went to see them for the first time in about 6 weeks, and I think it was the end for all of us. And but you know, I'm still trying to. My mom and dad's birthday is coming up here in a few days. Mother's Day is this weekend, so I try to be. I want to be with them, but I try to be careful and selective about when we do that.
We've gotten habits now to where, like, we took our turn last week or a couple of days ago. We each did a little bit. My sister will come by with my nephew and they'll sit in the driveway and wave.
Right.
We'll go by mom and dad's house, sit out in the front yard. Me and my daughter will throw a ball while they're sitting on the porch talking to us like it's normal.
Right.
Like we're out there after a Sunday church dinner or something.
Right.
Katie's mom would come over and have dinner with her in the yard. They'd have a picnic and stay. Her blanket's here, her blanket's here. So I think two things have happened that are positive. I think it's reinforced or reminded us how important people are.
Yes.
And I think it's given us, hopefully from that, the habits of saying hi and checking in on them other than when we need them or when it's on the calendar. In other words, yes, I go have lunch with my mom on Sunday after church.
Right.
But it's Tuesday. So I'm going to check in with her anyway. Because I don't know if Sunday's going to be here.
Right. Exactly. And you know, part of that is I forgot where I was going to go with this, but part of it.
That's the great thing about live. We can come back.
I know, it's awesome. What you say goes.
That's right.
You know, I'm lucky to be able to have people. I know where I was going to go now. I'm lucky to be able to have people in my life that from different walks that center me. And with social media and Facebook, I've been able to keep some of that center.
Right.
And normally I don't use, and people that are friends with me on Facebook, they know I normally don't use Facebook as a way to express my emotions. I normally use it as a social tool. I've been told I'm the king of dad jokes, which I probably am. And I know you know a few yourself.
Yeah.
But over the last few weeks, I've been sharing things that are on my heart, just as we talked earlier. You know, depression can affect the best of us.
Absolutely.
People to reach out, text someone at least once a day, tell them you love them, tell them that you're thinking about them, because one simple text like that can totally change someone's mood.
I've posted this for years, man, about once every couple months of hey, dude, hope you're okay. That took me 10 seconds, but you have no idea what Clint's going through on the other side, or Barbara or Kevin. And they read that and they're in the middle of going, this is never going to end. Nobody even knows. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, cool. Somebody's thinking of me.
Exactly.
I'm glad you've gotten to that habit.
Exactly. And you know, and I've started reaching out to folks, you know, I may annoy some of my friends with this, but that's just who I am. I reach out to them, and it may not be every morning or every evening, but I'll say good morning to, 4 or 5 friends a day. I'll check in throughout the day to see how their day's going. And I've been doing that more. And it's simply because I want them to know that someone's thinking about them. People care about them. And it helps me because it keeps contacts and friends close.
Well, here's the hard reality Clint had to learn a long time ago. I'm gonna put this off on anybody else. I would say it's at least 60-40, 50-50, 70-30, come up with a stat. And I'm giving myself some credit here that I probably don't deserve, because it's probably a lot more selfish. But a lot of times when especially last year, 2019, I said was the unicorn year, especially last year when I was sending out messages, a lot of times it's because I needed the feedback. So a lot of times I would send out the 10, hey, dude, hope you're okay, because I do want to keep, it's an established friendship. So,
Right.
Of course, there's love and respect there. But something in me also needed the, hey, dude, I'm good. Hope you're good too. What's going on? I needed somebody to, and if you're not going to do it proactively, there was times last year where I was needing it. I knew I needed it. And instead of calling up going, hey, dude, I really could talk right now, I would send that out.
Right.
Knowing that out of 10, 6 or 7 are going to go, dude, I'm good. How are you?
Right. And I agree 100%. I think that's the same with me.
I think it's the same with humans.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, I can't say I do it every day. But it's more than not.
People love to fish and they love to be fished for. So it doesn't, when someone tells me, oh, I don't do that. Okay, you may not do it that way, but you do it other ways.
Right.
You may post something on Facebook, or you try to dress a certain way, or you drive a certain car. Everybody has a need to be recognized somewhere.
Right. Exactly.
And we're missing that.
What the outlet.
Yeah.
Social media has been a huge part of that these days.
So we talked a little bit. You're back to reading, and I asked you if you're reading books, and you said no, you're reading a book.
I'm reading a book.
Why
I only have one book in the house.
That's what I was going to ask. Why are you only reading one? I know the story,
so I'm not much of a reader, and part of that is I think Shakespeare killed a lot of the joy for me. When I was in
shame on you.
I was not. Reading comprehension was not my strength.
Right.
That was probably one of my weakest, one of my biggest challenges in English class was reading comprehension. And even when I took the SAT and the ACTs, those scores were always the lowest. And it's not they were bad; it was just they weren't as high as the others. So it hurt my confidence a little bit in that realm. So reading has never been one of those things that I've just wanted to do. To break up some of the, I would read quite a bit, but I haven't read a book in maybe 3 or 4 years. So I told my daughter I was going to start reading, and she said, "What book are you going to read? You only have one in the house." And I said, "Well, that would be the book I read."
And you had not read it?
I have not. I'm halfway through.
Okay.
But let me just say, I started reading the book 3 years ago, and I made it to about the same point. So, but I forgot all of it. So
we need this quarantine to go on at least another 2 or 3 weeks so you can.
So I can finish it. That's right. That's right.
All right. So we're reading a book. It's you're walking.
I'm walking more. And I was walking before this started. I live out in East Brainerd, and what I would do is just go down to Heritage Park and do a few laps there. But since this started, I just need to get out of the house. So I would just walk out my front door, walk down the street to East Brainerd Road, and then I would walk down to Heritage Park, do a few laps, and then walk back, which is about probably, I'd walk, 3 to 3.5 miles. But then Heritage Park was closed.
Yep.
Because of all this. And
tornado.
You get out the door, and I just walk along the sidewalks of East Brainerd Road, and however far I'd go, and I turn around and I go back.
Do you know how many friends now are thinking, I think that was Kevin. Does he need a ride?
And you will not believe how many people say, did I see you walking along East Brainerd Road the other day? Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
But then the tornadoes hit, and thank God my daughter and I weren't injured, and we didn't have any major damage or anything. But we live right across from where Bones was taken out in Advanced Auto Parts along East Brainerd Road. I live less than a quarter mile from there. And I don't think I quite realized how strong that storm was until we walked out. It was already down, and seeing that just kind of it affected me even more. So I stopped walking along East Brainerd Road because seeing the damage, it wasn't good for me to see. It was sad. Plus, EPB was busy along East Brainerd Road rebuilding all the power lines and all that and all the electrical systems. So I started going over to the Camp Jordan, and I'll try to walk over there every day. Sometimes I've been walking 2 or 3 times a day. Not necessarily there, but maybe the apartment complex, and then I'd do most of my walking over there. And one lap out there is 2 miles, and I just go out there, and it's something I need to do every day now. It's just been a part of my routine and something that I like being outside, and it drives me. And I have friends that occasionally will go out there and walk with me, but if they can't, that's just part of my serenity and bringing peace back to me. And I've lost 26 pounds since mid-March, and part of that was a couple things. One, I'm not eating as much because when you're sad, your appetite can be restricted a little bit.
Yeah.
But me just being just nonstop every day walking 3 to 5 miles a day has really started to add up. And my clothes, I'm gonna need new clothes here soon, Clint. So these stores better open up quick.
You'll have the joy of shopping. That'll make you happy again.
That's right.
Well,
That's
and
right.
2, it's proven vitamin D, the sunlight is good for your mood. It's good for your
Yes.
spirit. It's good for your
Yes.
body. So
Yes.
I'm a big believer on getting out. Me and my daughter
Yes.
will go walking, or we just go sit on the deck, or we'll throw ball. We try to find ways to get out and get some sunshine when it's available. The other thing that you say you're doing, and I'm going to go through this, and we'll wrap it up in about 5 minutes or so, but trivia. You and some friends are doing trivia.
Yeah. So
We're giving some tips out to people. That's good.
well, and I just about a year, half, 2 years ago, I had some friends. We'd regularly go to some trivia nights at local restaurants and places, just as a way to get together and have fun. But it's competitive. You're having a good time,
Yeah.
and I kind of got the bug. I become accustomed to doing it. So about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I saw a Facebook ad for Jackbox Games. And I had some folks that asked me about doing trivia online, and I just never could figure out the way to do it with multiple people where you could talk to each other and interact and that kind of stuff.
Right.
I have a friend that is technology smart enough to be able to pull it off where he can host the video stream and we can all go on and talk. But about 2 to at least a couple times a week, we all get together one evening for 2 to 3 hours, and we'll do those Jackbox games. We'll compete against one another against trivia. Now normally team style, but this is individual.
Oh.
So but we're still interacting with each other, and we're just having fun socializing with each other. And I'm happy to say this is actually kind of a new group of friends for me. And I say that as mean the last 6 months or so that I become acquainted with, and then became more socialized. I began socializing with them more and become more.
But this will make your circle bigger when we get back to
normal. It
Yeah.
will. And this is a new group for me. Like I said, it's only been about 6 months, but it's become a group that I really love to interact with, and they've been great for me. And like I said, when we get through this, I'll have another social group to hang out with. But social groups come and go with things like this. People meet new people. You might not see someone for a couple months, then they'll come back in your life. And but just being able to do this and hang out with them, even though it's virtually, has been a huge thing for me, and I really do enjoy it.
All right, we're going to go through a couple quick things. What are you binge watching? Anything?
What am I binge watching? I'm trying to watch Ozark. I'm only on the second episode.
Go, keep going. It's good.
Season 1, but I've been told as it goes along, it gets a little lighter, then it gets dark again.
It does, but it's addictive. Try
watching
Peaky
Ozark.
Blinders. Peaky Blinders.
But I'm also going back. I loved Psych when it was on USA Network. About two fake psychic about a fake psychic detective, and I'm wanting to go back and watch those again. But I've also been watching The Simpsons. I started in season 1. I'm about midway through season 7. I'm determined to watch every episode in order from start to finish, and luckily I can watch those in 24-minute increments.
You should go watch The Monk.
I should
I'm
go.
just kidding.
That's actually what the book is.
I
I'm
know.
reading.
I was cheating. I knew. Yeah.
You are cheating.
Yeah,
I don't know where I can watch Monk online. I'll have to figure it out and watch
Oh,
it.
go to YouTube. It'll be up. It'll be
Okay.
on YouTube.
I'll figure it out.
2 more quick things. Music playlist. What are you listening to? Any new music you've discovered?
So I'm going back to a lot of 80s stuff. I grew up in the 90s, so I'm listening to a lot of alternative kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
and that's where I grew up with. That's what I love. My favorite band's Bare Naked Ladies, and I actually have concert tickets to see them with Toe the Wet Sprocket and another 90s alternative band in Atlanta in the first week of June. I don't think it's going to happen. But
they'll do an online concert.
Yeah. Well, they've been doing, the lead singer, Ed Robertson's been doing a free online show every week. So I've been watching those, and, I've been watching a lot of new movies lately. I have a friend that has a list of movies she's actually been watching, and she sent it to me. So I'm starting to watch some of those new movies a lot of independent stuff that I wouldn't have known about had I not had that list. I'm starting to watch a lot of those new things, and I've really been enjoying it.
All right, I'm going to give you one tip that you may already do, but it helped me.
Okay.
And so when I went back and started looking at when I've been the most successful or happiest in my life, whether it's when you're younger, you're doing stuff and you don't really know you're doing it, or as I got older, when I was killing it in sales, or when I was doing great in my physical condition. So as I've looked back on that, which I started doing about 4 or 5 weeks ago, because I have free time. I have more time, pockets of time. I'm still working, but I have these pockets of time that used to be full of other stuff.
Right.
I started realizing that tracking my day, because here's what helped me. I started realizing that I used to have morning habits and evening habits, things I did when I got up and things I did before I went to bed that kind of bookend my day. It started me off right and ended me right. And I realized in 2019, I had gotten away from those. I had habits, but they were formed by reacting, my emotions, my moods, whatever's going on. There was nothing I was controlling. So once I sat down for a couple of days and said, I'm just going to track what I do every day. Time. We all track calories. We all track money.
Right.
We track everything except our time.
Right.
Our time is something we do. You call, I answer. You ask, I answer. This appointment set, I go. Very rarely do we slow down long enough to go, what am I controlling when it comes to my time, which is the most valuable thing. I realized that I didn't have my 30 minutes when I woke up and my 30 or 45 minutes before I went to bed. I had no control over that. Once I got that under control, for me personally, it changed my last 5 weeks. And it got me kind of reset to where I was 2 and 3 years ago. So the only reason I'm bringing that up is because it helped me. It helped me.
Well, and that walking that I'm doing, I do it, between 5 to 6:30 every afternoon. And that's become part of my new daily routine.
You look forward to it.
I look forward to it in the day. And, and before I go to bed, I'll normally watch a quick show or something like that, or talk to friends, just something that keeps my mind active, that I'm having a good time with. That's my decompress time. And, my daughter, when I have her, she goes to bed about 10:15, 10:30 by the time she gets in the bed. That doesn't leave me a lot of time after she goes to bed just for me time to decompress, but I still make sure I take time to do it.
All right, here's what we're going to do, man. We're going to end this conversation playing a small, very quick game of Would You Rather.
Let's do it.
Me and my daughter have been playing these online 2 or 3 times a week, and we'll get like 100 responses. It's very fun. But now that she's with her mom, I've gotten to where I ask this of every interview, whether it's Tim Kelly or Marty Ray out of Atlanta, who's an entertainer. I just ask him because it's fun. So, Kevin Lusk, here we go. Would you rather, for the rest of your life, only eat one of these? You can only have tater tots, onion rings, or French fries. Which do you pick?
Tater tots.
There you go.
Have your tot.
That's an American. Okay, good job. Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Oh, you're 1 and 1. That's not
the waffle thing can be a texture thing for me, because if it's cooked too long, it's too crispy. And that's just me being weird.
But the waffle has, I said pancakes originally. My daughter reminded me that the pancake has the little square syrup and butter capture little spaces. And I was like,
That is true.
You got to go with waffles. All right, last one. Do you put salt on your watermelon or not?
I do not, and let me tell you why.
Oh, wow.
I
There's a
don't like
reason.
watermelon. I don't eat it. So, yeah, but having salt on something sweet like that, no.
Do you like cantaloupe?
I don't like any kind of melon, Clint.
That's not good at all, man.
I'm
That might be some of your sadness. We might need to get you some watermelon and cantaloupe.
I need to go out. I love the smell of melon. I just don't like the taste of it.
Well, we'll work on that. Hey, do me a favor, dude. Stay healthy, stay happy, keep up on the social media stuff. I think you're pretty close to being essential again, like all of us non-essentials were. So hopefully we'll find a new term for that. But man, I'm glad you reached out and I'm glad you came on, man.
Thanks for hosting me, Clint. It's been fun.
No problem. Thank you, Kevin Lusk. Hey, I'm going to sign off now, and then we'll be back on later today. See you, Kevin.
Thanks, Clint.